Jonestown was supposed to be a socialist utopia where there was no racism, no sexism. A lot of people went down there thinking that they were going to partake in this great experiment, only to learn that Jim Jones had other plans for them. Jim Jones was a very charismatic, powerful preacher who would tell you what you wanted to hear. He was proposing a social revolution. And once he got down to Jonestown, it was kind of like, you know, he had them secluded, isolated in the middle of the jungle. There was no escape. And then he gradually, you know, created this situation where they thought that there were mercenaries surrounding them and that, you know, the jungle was full of dangerous snakes and tigers, and so they were afraid to step off the property. But yet Jonestown was increasingly imploding. He was going insane. He was telling them, you know, that it was better to commit revolutionary suicide than be invaded by these phantom mercenaries in the jungle. And again, you know, they didn't have any contact with the outside world. All they knew was what the lies that Jim Jones was telling them. What really struck me were the individuals who lived in Jonestown. And I think what most people think about when they think about Jonestown, if they even, you know, if they were born in the era and they actually remember what happened, they remember the bodies. They remember the iconic photographs on the cover of Time magazine and Newsweek magazine of all the dead bodies in the jungle. And I wanted to get past that and tell the story of these people. Survivors are very wary of the media because the media in the aftermath of Jonestown portrayed them as mindless, as sheep. So the survivors who actually escaped are very reticent to talk to anyone. One survivor in particular that I became very close to is a man named Tommy Bogue. He was a teenager in Jonestown. He was sent down there to straighten him out. He only talked to me after I sent him my book, Jesus Land, which is about being sent to a reform school in the Dominican Republic. And there are a lot of eerie parallels between Jonestown and my school. And then the rest of the survivors, you know, once I shared with them where I was coming from and what my interests were, they opened up to me a bit. I let them know I wasn't going to do the typical sensational, you know, the end of Jonestown. I was more interested in talking about people before Jonestown, how they were drawn to Jim Jones, where they came from, what the beginning of their life was like, and how they ended up in the camp. I was more interested in that than in the last, you know, months and days of Jonestown, which has been the focus of the media before. I think one thing people can take away from Jonestown is to be leery of leaders, to question them and hold them accountable. I think people put Jones in a position where they no longer question the gut feelings they had about things that were wrong. You know, there's that impulse to say, well, we could never be that person. You know, we're smarter than that. We would never have landed in Jonestown. We would never have drunk the Kool-Aid, so to speak. And I think my book will kind of clear up some of these misconceptions and also show how trapped they were.